of the pie, and I'll just do that. So, I've always wanted to make a pie, and I asked my mom one day, and she immediately said yes. So, I started apprenticing her, and I apprenticed apple pie because it is very tasty, and I just like eating it. I also like cookies, so I figured out liking it. Now, apple pie does not require many materials, but the materials you will need are one pie pan, one rolling pin, one large chopping board or pastry work surface, one food processor, preferably Cuisinart because it's the best, and one oven preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The ingredients for the crust are 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1½ sticks of salted butter, 5 to 7 tablespoons of iced water. For the filling, you will need 6 to 8 apples, like Granny Smith variety. But it can be any variety, depending on your taste. Dark brown sugar to taste and white sugar to taste, ground cinnamon to taste. That means as much as you want, depending on your taste. And we like to use brown sugar because it gives to us a better, richer, rounded taste. So, here's how to make it. First, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now slice, core, and peel 6 to 8 apples. Slice, core, and peel, and that's the end. That's all the peels, because I have 2 holes.
Oh, wow.
And I did it with my mom. My mom is way faster than me, but we do it in like 20 to 30 minutes. So 6 to 8 apples peeled, because we usually do like 8 slices within an apple. Then we have to core it. The peeling takes the longest, but once you get the hang of it, it's not that bad.
Can you tip for those of us that have never baked before or worked with apples? What does coring mean?
Well, coring is when it's when you cut an apple into slices. I think everybody knows how to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you get it, there's apples and there's slices, and on the top on the top of the slice, like where the crescent, it's kind of like a crescent, and it goes in. You have to cut that part a lot, like just maybe a centimeter off or around that, and cut it off so that there's no stem in it, because sometimes the apple stem is inside of it, or seeds. Yeah. So you have to cut that off. And peeling is you put your finger back on one side, you get a knife, and you have to be handy with knives in order to make apple pie. You get one hand, and you put it under, and then you just go under the apple, and you kind of peel it and just rip it go like that and under. You keep on doing that until there's no peel left, like that. And if you notice, all the apples right there don't have any bit of peel on it, because it's very important, because it'll just mess up the pie. Second, put the apples in a large mixing bowl and add the sugars and the cinnamon to taste. Eventually leave the apples to soak and just kind of dry, and let their juices soak down while you will go to make the crust. Put 2 cups of flour and 1½ sticks of butter in the Cuisinart, which is this thing, butter, Cuisinart, and start it. As the dough starts to coalesce, which means when different ingredients come together, add the cold water, 1 tablespoon at a time. As the dough turns into a ball, turn off the Cuisinart and take out the dough ball. There's a picture of the dough ball right here, and I was rolling it. After that, divide that big ball into 2 balls and then wrap them, each of them separately in the saran wrap, which is this plastic wrap, and put them in a freezer for 5 minutes. And not too much because it's just better for 5 minutes because then it'll just stay it'll stay like bouncy, but it'll stay squishy. And so now you should go back to the apple mixture, and there should have been a lot of juices released. So it should not be runny. Afterward, take the dough balls out of the freezer.
Do you want to mention the flowering?
You know in your head.
No. Okay, when you go to check on the apples, you have to give it, put some flour on it so that it doesn't, so that I can't,
Master help. You can definitely consult with your master.
Apples, it's like when you put sugar in something, it always makes it release the juices, usually with food, just like with salt. So you don't want it to be too runny with too much liquid, because otherwise it's just not going to make a good pie. So you put some flour in to absorb the juices, so that it's still juicy, but it's more pasty. It's not like running all over the place. So just put a couple of tablespoons of flour in there.
And so afterward, take the dough balls out of the freezer and dust the work surface with the chopping board with flour. And as you can see, there's flour right there, and we're about to put the dough balls in. So use the rolling pin for the first ball, and when it is larger than you think it needs to be, you should roll it like, place it at the bottom of the pie tin. But don't worry about the edges spilling over. When you do it, you shouldn't do it too lightly, but you shouldn't do it too heavily. And you have to make it so it's kind of like circular. You don't just want to make it so that it would be like this. You want to make it so it would be like this. And the dough is not all in one place. It's more all over the place in a way. So, but when you're done with cutting the edges, because you're gonna have to cut the edges like that in that picture, I'm cutting the edges because then they'll just be like dough falling off. So you have to do that, and when you do that, roll the other ball similarly, and then before you roll the other dough ball similarly. Then once it's rolled, put the apple mixture inside of it, so it's kind of like the dough is kind of like a bowl, but like it's inside of it still. Then carefully place it on top of the thing. And I don't know where the pictures went that I had of it. Had it where it was everything, because I used to have a couple more pictures. But then when it's there, you should like kind of what Caroline said, but you have to just push it down so that no steam can be released, but when there is going to be steam released still, so it can cook properly. And that's why we put the fork hole in, so steam can rise. Otherwise, it would just stay inside and it wouldn't cook. Now it's time for you to put it in. I'm pulling the fork hole, and then wait for 1 hour, and ta-da! You got yourself an apple pie. I learned that making apple pie is harder than it looks and requires more time and effort in order to make it delicious. There is no fun in buying pre-made apple pie for me. The real fun is making it from scratch. There is something satisfying and special about making it yourself. Also, the ingredients are better. It's better for your taste, like it's more rounded to your taste. And you just get to, and it's cheaper usually. I felt like the overall experience with my mom was great because we cooperated very well together. We got all the work done while still having a fun time. All in all, I think me and my mom did a superb job. I should say so myself. My testers, my family,